right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kodash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, started with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai will ultimately have mercy upon in these last days. I'm your brother Matazabath, residing from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And I'm going to entitle this lesson, Esau'S Tightening Draconian Measures, News and Prophecy. Okay, and as you can see here on the screen, this is from End Time Headlines. The UK government rolling out live facial recognition cameras for every town and city center across the country. Okay, so now what we must understand in being in these last days is the fact that, remember, they have what's called a 2030 agenda. And by 2030, they want everything to be of AI technology being rolled out. They want people to be under what they call a CBDC system, which stands for central banking digital currency. And they want to merge humans with machine, which they call transhumanism. In a way that they're going to implement that is through the means of this Industrial Revolution 4.0 technology, where they will institute a microchip pursuant to Revelation, the 13th chapter, within inside of you. And along with that process, you will also be tracked and traced through these facial recognition cameras. So I just want to read this article, and then we're going to show you some other things that are going on across the waters down here in Australia. Now, first off, it says, in a bold move to combat rising crime, the UK government has announced plans to deploy live facial recognition cameras in every town and city center across the country. Okay. And you have to keep in mind, this is all done by design. And see, the reason why they've allowed for a lot of these migrants to not only come in America, but also different parts of Europe and also here in Australia, this was done by way of design to help forward their new world order, because this gives them the opportunity to announce different laws and whatnot that they have prescribed pursuant to Isaiah, the 10th chapter. Okay. So they already knew that by them allowing for this sort of things to happen within their communities, it sets the stage to put people in total turmoil to turn to their government to ask for help and to give them some answers on what they can do. Okay. And so this is what Esau does through ways of gradualism, right? It says the initiative unveiled today aims to enhance public safety by scanning faces in real time against watch list of suspects and missing persons. So we are in what's called a real live Minority Report. If you remember that movie where the main character was Tom Cruise. Okay. It says Home Security Yvette Cooper revealed the strategy during a parliamentary session, stating this technology will revolutionize policing, allowing officers to identify threats instantly without invasive searches. Now, to the common person who's not hip to what's really going on, they'll look at this and think that this is good for society, because everything that the government has allowed to happen was for this very moment to give them a reason to actually start to implement this sort of technology. But on the flip side to that, what the average Joe is not understanding is that this is going to give them full power to pretty much tap into your everyday private life to see what you are really doing. So the moment that you step out of your house, you're being tracked. Okay. Because it's not going to stop with these cameras, but they're also going to have drones. Okay. And they already are testing those drones in New York, I've heard. And also they've tested it here last year in Melbourne, Australia, down in St. Kilda. Okay. It says the rollout will begin with 100 new LFR units in major hubs like Manchester, Birmingham, and Leeds by mid 2026, expanding nationwide by 2028. So they ramping up, okay, because they know that they have but a short time. It says funded through a 500 million or 500 million pound security budget. The camera will integrate with the existing CCTV networks and powered by AI algorithms from firms like NEC and IDEMIA. They boost 99% accuracy and controlled test even in crowds. Right now, this, for those of you who are not, up to date, this goes back to the pandemic during C19, because they had, when they forced everybody to be 6 feet away from each other or 1.5 meters away from each other, because the cameras that they were testing back then, you had let me see if I can pull it up. But when you type in the facial recognition camera with green square imagery, all right, this is what it looked like. Okay, so give you an example. Let me see if I can blow this up in another tab. All right, that's better. Okay, so this looks like any of you brothers who ever played Watch Dogs back in 2014 on PS4, you know what I'm talking about, right? So this is how these cameras that are going to be placed in the UK, this is how it's going to be able to identify you. There's also a TV show that's called Black Mirror on Netflix, where they have an actual episode that goes into this sort of technology. Okay, so basically, the green square, once it picks up who you are, that AI algorithm can detect everything about you. Okay, now what they're not telling you is, essentially, when they institute everybody to receive that microchip, once you scan, all of your data will be in the AI algorithm cloud. So say, for instance, the moment you scan into somewhere, the facial recognition system is going to tie to your chip, where it's going to be able to pull up all the information of your data, who you are, your birth certificate, your dental records, your medical records, okay, your social security, all of that in the above. Okay. They are literally wanting to control and have access to every single thing that is about you. Okay. And a lot of people they don't understand the times that we're in. They're just overlooking this information. Okay. However, let's get back here. It says data privacy safeguards include on-device processing to minimize cloud storage, with footage deleted after 30 days unless a match triggers alerts. The primary goals: tackle knife crime, shoplifting, terrorism. Early pilots in London reduced arrest by 20% and trial zones per home office data. Okay, so the devil's about to come down with great wrath, because he knows that he have but a short time. And best believe they're going to tie us to servants to prophets within these categories. Okay, more so leading probably to this one right here. It says critics led by Liberty's Silky Carlo decried it as mass surveillance on steroids, and we couldn't agree more. Okay, MSS, we'll abbreviate it like that: mass surveillance on steroids. Okay, because they want to be like the Most High. Okay, where the scriptures tells you that the Most High beholds the ways of men from the heavens above. Okay, that's what Esau wants to do. He wants to sit in the seat of the Most High, thinking to himself that he is the Most High, but the scripture says he is a man. He is not the Most High. It says this erodes civil liberties, disproportionately targeting minorities. And who do you think the minorities are in today's society? Jake. You see, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and wherever else our people are scattered amongst the nations. You're the minority. You're the tail while everybody else is the head over you. It says Carlo warned. The liberal Democrats called for a full commons vote, citing EU-style data protection gaps. Tech ethicists worry about bias in AI training sets, potentially misidentifying ethnic minorities at higher rates. And and that's what we already know. That's how Esau gets down. You already know how this is going to play out once they start coming down on Jake. A 2024 study by Big Brother Watch found similar systems erred 1 in 5 times on non-white faces, so-called white faces, that is. Okay. This follows the Labor government's post-election crime crackdown amid a 15% urban offense spike since 2024. Proponents argue it's no dystopia. Sweden and China already use LFR effectively, but with public trust and policing at a decade low, the plan risks backlash. Because all you got to do is, if you come over here to YouTube and you type in China social credit score system, yeah, well, you can see it here, right? They've been using, this was 6 years ago. It says China ranks good and bad citizens with social credit score system. So anybody thinking that this is fake, this was posted 6 years ago. China has already had it going on nearly 8 to 10 years. They just kept it quiet under wraps. Okay, then you have the NBC. NBC did a special on it. Okay, showing you that this is real. And I've done a lesson where Klaus Schwab said it himself that China, okay, is the stepping stone, so to speak, or is the blueprint to how they want the entire globe to be ran. Okay, so this is not this is not a joke, man. Okay, here's another one here. China's social credit score system, because this is what this system is leading to. Now, that's this article. So what I want to do is I want to turn your attention to this video that I found on TikTok to show you how they're implementing different strategies in other places, such as here in Australia, to set up this new world order. All right. So let's play this video.
The Australian Federal Police, and they said that anyone that is viewed in Australia to be eroding social fabric,
that's the word,
will be held accountable.
Yeah, so if you said do civil non-compliance, you are charged with
eroding social fabric is so vague, because it's subjective to their interpretation as to what is interrupting what they think is a wonderful society. It's up to them. They've put those words in place. The Australian Federal Police are using a vague term to be able to basically
do what they want.
Do what they want.
All right, I'm gonna play that one more time.
It's been a warning given by the Australian Federal Police, and they said that anyone that is viewed in Australia to be eroding social fabric,
that's the word,
will be held accountable.
Yeah, so if you said do civil non-compliance, you are charged with
eroding social fabric is so vague, because it's subjective to their interpretation as to what is interrupting what they think is a wonderful society. It's up to them. They've put those words in place. The Australian Federal Police are using a vague term to be able to basically
do what they want.
Do what they want.
And this is inspired by, now let's come back here. All right, let's remove this off stage. Let's come back here, and I'm gonna play this clip over here All right, now check this out. All right, take this back. All right, Salaki, let me take it back. Let me turn the volume up. All right, let's play it. Why does it keep doing that?
Who are eroding. There are current and emerging individuals and groups who are eroding our country's social fabric by advocating hatred, fear, and humiliation, and the AFP once again is putting them on notice. There is no place for hate or violence in our communities, and the AFP will defend and protect Australia and our future from these threats. There will be no tolerance for groups who advocate or have a propensity for violence. Whether offending occurs online or in person, the AFP will use its unique capabilities and legislation to collect evidence and prosecute those who seek to harm our community. These three incidents are examples of the challenges we face in combating those who are seeking to damage our social cohesion. The AFP National Security Investigations teams are working closely with our Commonwealth, state and territory partners to provide the most effective and disruptive policing response.
You heard it right there. So they're taking the same approach, because notice he said that with the how can I put it? Basically, the resources, I'll just say that they have collectively, they're going to work with each different states around the country to implement the powers that have been given unto them to suss out those who cause eroding social fabric. Now, what does that mean? Well, when you come over here, what is meant by eroding social fabric? It says eroding social fabric means the weakening of trust, shared values, community bonds, social cohesion within a society, leading to increased fragmentation, isolation, and diminished collective ability to solve problems, right? It signifies a breakdown in the social networks and norms that allow a community to function effectively. So basically what they're saying, in other words, in a nutshell, is the fact that with everything that's going on within a lot of countries that receive these immigrants, basically, if you do anything that they consider based under their vague term, eroding social fabric, they can interpret that to be any way they want to interpret it, just to come down on you if it falls under the category of you creating hate, inciting violence, or anything against another group of people that, in other words, will have them to come together to, have society to function normally. So think about all of these protests and stuff that's been going on around the world. They can now single you out and say, just because you took part of that, which under your constitution, you may have the right to free speech, right? But now they can turn around and deem that as coming up under the term eroding social fabric. So now you can be prosecuted, and this is in a form of draconian measures. Okay, the dragon is now speaking. Okay, so let's get some precepts and then we're going to close out. All right, I'm going to start here. The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 8, or actually verse 9. It says, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net, because that net really represents the system. Okay, with the AI, facial recognition, algorithm technology. Okay, the Esau is at the forefront of this, man. It says he croucheth and humbleth himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Okay, and going into his plot, his schemes, the plan for him to overtake Jake. Okay, as the article even said here, that this technology, mass surveillance, that's on steroids, is going to disproportionately target minorities. You see? And then the same thing with the federal police just outlined within that video. Imagine, they're going to come after us because a lot of the things that we speak on, according to the scriptures, all right, it's not of a friendly thing, because we speak of a message where we only for our people, the Israelites. So you think that they're going to want to hear that? Absolutely not. Verse 11, it says, he has said in his heart, Yahweh hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Yahweh, O power, lift up thy hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn the Most High? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it, because they think that, they're going to pretty much steamroll into their new world order, and that everything that they've been doing, especially it being wicked, they haven't been, their wickedness has not been addressed. So they think that the Most High is with them, as the scripture says in Psalms, the 50th chapter. Let's get that real quick. Psalms 50 and verse 21. It says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. And the process of Esau being reproved right now is through the servants, the prophets, of us coming out with these digital epistles, doing these lessons, breaking it down, showing him his fate that lies ahead. But see, he thinks, going back here in Psalms 10, that Yahweh is not going to require it, because the scriptures also says in Ecclesiastes, let me get that real quick. I believe that's the 8th chapter and the 11th verse. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. That's why they believe that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is not going to require the things that they have done, when the scriptures tells you, okay, he required that which is past. Let's get that. Ecclesiastes 3:15, that which have been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and Yahweh required that which is past. So everything that these devils have done to the nation of Israel, going all the way back when they gathered us up into slavery, even up until this now, even up until now, when they're about to institute this digital currency and bring in the mark of the beast, the Lord is going to require that from you, and you can't get around it. You see? Let's get 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now, when you go into that Greek word, devices,
Strong's G 3540, Naima.
all right, it says a mental perception, a thought, an evil purpose, that which thinks, the mind, thoughts, or purposes. Okay, and his purpose pretty much is to gather all people. He heapeth unto himself all people, as it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and he's going to do that via means of his new world order system. Okay, remember the scripture says in Revelation 12:12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Let's look up this word wrath.
Strong's G 2372, Thumas.
It says passion, angry, heat, anger, forthwith boiling up, and soon subsiding again. It says glow, ardor, the wine of passion, and flaming wine, which either drinks the drinker mad or kills him with its strength. Strong's definition says passion as if breathing hard, fierceness, indignation, wrath. Okay, because on one end of the spectrum, he wants the birthright back. He wants the kingdom, but he also wants to slay his brother Jacob. Hence why during Jacob's trouble, they're going to come after us. See? So, he's he's mad, he's losing, okay? And in the process of doing this, he's going to go full throttle with this plan. But see, let's get Job 5 and 12, because this is what's going to happen. It says he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So in other words, Esau is going to get a rude awakening while he's trying to set up his new world order. Because see, they only going to get so far with this technology. It says, verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. You see, that's why it also tells us when you go to what's that, Psalms 21, I believe it is, and verse 11. It says, for they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform. This is where we get our comfort from, because the Lord's saying, look, they're going to try it, but they're not going to be able to perform it. Because now when you jump back to the book of Job and you get the 20th chapter, as soon as they are about to fill their belly, let's get it here. Job 20 and 23, it says, when he, talking about Esau, Edom, the wicked, is about to fill his belly in terms of what? Everything that he has been instituting, building up to this final point where he's about to establish his new world order. It says, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So even though going back to Revelation 12, where we looked up that word wrath, where it talks about him breathing hard, fierce anger, he's upset because he sees his kingdom is falling apart. So he's going to try to come after the remnant, the elect. The Most High is going to come after his ass. You see? And he's going to hit him, when he least expects it. Verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and a bow of steel shall strike him through. You see? And it shows you that Esau, he ain't too clever, because, even though he watches the prophets and he knows a little bit of the prophecies, he should know that the last time this new world order was trying to be established, going back to the time of the Tower of Babel, okay, the Most High disrupted that. When Antiochus Epiphanes and First Maccabees, he also tried to establish, okay, let's get that if we can, a new world order. When you read the account, and the Most High took his ass out. Let's get that real quick. Let me get King James. Let's get First Maccabees, the first chapter, right around verse 40. Right. We'll start at verse 41. All right. Because see, when you go into the historical account, okay, Esau, okay, which Antiochus, he was an Edomite. All right. He tried to establish a new world order back then during his time. This is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. You see that? He tried to establish this. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. You see that? So he tried to put it into practice back then. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So just like you had those wicked Israelites that didn't trust in their power and pretty much trusted in the Greeks implementing their version of a new world order, you're going to have 2/3 of our people during this time that's going to do the same thing. They're going to take the microchip. They're going to bow down and worship the beast system. Okay. That's why the Bible says that which is then is now. If they did it back then, they're going to do it all over again today. It says, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they shall follow the strange laws of the land. And the same thing is happening again today, okay? Because this time, the difference is the Israelites are scattered across the four winds. This time, Esau is cracking down on these draconian measures, okay? Because the scriptures also says he frameth mischief by law. Let's get that. I believe that's Psalms. Is that Psalms 94? Yeah, this is Psalms chapter 94 and verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? By a law. You see that? Because according to the Apocrypha, their strength, and when I say there, I'm talking about the Edomites, their strength is within the law itself. Okay? This is how they get one up over Jake. Okay? So back here in Maccabees, it says, verse 45, and also forbid burnt offerings, sacrifice, drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. You can liken that unto today. We're not going to be able to preach on the street corners anymore. We're not going to be able to really do anything that goes against what they view society to be. You see? It says, and pollute this, and to pollute the sanctuary and the holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Elder Apostle Har says it all the time. When they set up those concentration camps, there's going to be chipping stations at those camps. When they start hauling people in, capturing people, going into their houses, destroying them that fear the Lord. That's 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. You see? It says that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. It says, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. The same thing we read here when we come over to Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 15th verse, I think it is. Yep. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, that not only means that you can be taken out, but it also means you can be excommunicated from society when you go into that word killed. Right? Because if you don't take the MOTB, which goes into it in the very next verse, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. So when you look up this word killed, for instance, because it not only means that you can be unalive, but you can be pretty much excommunicated from society.
Strong's G 615. Apartino. Apartino.
It says to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish. Metaphor, to extinguish or abolish, to inflict mortal death, to deprive of spiritual life and procure eternal misery in hell. Now we know hell can mean, it means the grave, but it also can mean a state of condition. So your life can become a living hell when you are excommunicated from things or partaking in society if you don't accept their new world order by taking that chip. You see? So that's what it's going into. So, let's close out. I want to get Habakkuk, 2nd chapter. Verse 1, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Okay, and we, the service, the prophets, we're standing upon our watch by watching the things that are going on across the four winds, and we are reporting them back unto the sheep of the house of Israel, starting with the elect. It says, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. You see? And we are doing that. We are running, because to run means to what? To divide the word and also to break it down.
Strong's H 7323. Roots.
Okay. Now it says, let me just cut to the chase. When you jump down to Strong's, it says to run for whatever reason, especially to rush, break down, or divide speedily. And that's talking about the scriptures. So when it says to make it plain, okay, the scriptures speak about we speak plainness. Let's get that real quick. Come over here. Plainness. Let me see if I can get that. We speak plainness of speech. 2 Corinthians 3:12. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. You see? So when we come back, write the vision, Habakkuk 2:2, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run, divide speedily, and break it down that readeth it. The prophets are doing that. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And the vision, as you can see, okay, is manifesting just as it was prophesied. All right, so let's get one more. In the book of Ezekiel 33, okay, and verse 33, it says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet have been among them. And so whether you believe it now or believe it later, eventually you're going to believe everything that the prophets, starting with the apostles, the bishops, the elders on down, and the rest of our affiliates here at Great Millstone mainly, have been telling you. You're going to witness it. You're going to see it. All right. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it there, Akim. I pray that this lesson was edifying, straight to the point, as always. And I want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. And so on to the next, Abaratazah, Shalom.